Yeah, look, I think from the start of the year when we were right up against it, to get back to this position's been, it's been a tough haul to get back to this this position where we're giving ourselves a chance. We're right in the mix. So, I thought today we did what we needed to do. Probably not a lot more than that, but we're in there with a chance now. So everything's within our control from this point in.
From an obvious blowout the other week, has there been a steady progression of targets being reached over the last sort of month or so?
Yeah. I mean, we haven't. Collingwood and Geelong are really the only two teams that have convincingly beaten us. We've been in every other game, so with our chances to win them, and we've lost some games we probably felt we should have won. So, I think that the improvement's been really steady, and we've been really confident in that internally for a long time. You can't say that too much externally when you come off some losses like we did against Collingwood, but internally, we've been really pleased with the progression, and we're really confident we're heading in the right direction. But we're also really cognizant of the fact we've got a lot of work to do, because we still do some things that are not going to be good enough against the very best.
Brad, you briefly go to the lead on the third quarter, then dictated the next 9. What's your take on how that happens?
Look, I thought the first half was poor in a lot of areas for us. We didn't take our chances going forward, so and Brisbane did. So I think at one stage, we had, we almost doubled them in scoring shots, but the score was still pretty close. So that's one pretty significant factor. But I thought Brisbane out-tackled us early. I mean, they've been a really plucky side all year. I think a lot of credit's got to go to... I mean, I'm frustrated at some of the things we didn't do well, but a lot of the times the opposition don't let you do them well either. So, I thought Brisbane were pretty good today, and they have been pretty good over a long period of time when you consider the personnel they've got out of their side. So, if Daniel Merritt's there playing on Drew Petrie and Jonathan Brown's playing centre half forward and Drummond's running off half back and delivering the ball like he can, it might have been a different proposition for us today. So, I think, there are some things we need to work on, but I think, Brisbane are fighting, pretty well, and probably they deserve a bit more credit than they're getting at the moment.
Right, in the third quarter you had 3 goals in a row that all came from tackles inside the forward 50. That defensive pressure inside that the forward 50 must have been pleased.
Yeah, Matty Campbell's a pretty good inclusion for us in there. He not only does he tackle them, but I think he makes them rush a little bit back there as well. So, he was terrific, and we know Lindsay Thomas is very good in that area too. So, I haven't got a VFL report, but by all accounts he started very well today too. So, I think that's an area we've been working on, and at times we've been found wanting in compared to the best sides in the competition, but it's starting to improve. I think in the third quarter we had 11 forward 50 tackles, which is pretty good for a quarter of footy, and it really, that in itself, the shift after half time I thought was pretty important, reflected by that number.
Yeah. Lockie Hansen, the second half of the defence took some good contested marks down. It seemed to grow in confidence.
Yeah, his first half was very ordinary by his own admission, and Lockie shouldn't need the rev that he got at half time to get him to respond like that in the second half. He's a player I've got a lot of faith in, and I implore all North Melbourne supporters to keep the faith with him, because we are not a club that criticises its own, and so any North Melbourne supporter that does that I'd be very disappointed in. But he's going to be a long-term key position player for us at both ends of the ground, as Robbie Tarrant will be, as Cam Pedersen will be. So, we're keen to keep developing that flexibility.
The midfield seemed a fairly even contribution today. Range was on Wells and kept him relatively quiet. But Are you happy with the evenness of that?
Yeah, and that's something we've worked on as well, because in the past we've been pretty much a one-trick pony. We've had our good players have had to play really well for us to win, and we know that that's not sustainable in the long term. So even though Wellesley was still a good contributor for us today, I thought Raines stuck to his task really well. He's been playing that role pretty well for a few weeks. So it was really good that other players could pick up the slack. We can't expect Wellesley to have it 35 times every week and win the game for us. So we're starting to develop a pretty good even contribution, and we've got a lot of midfielders who deserve a spot in the seniors who are playing well in the VFL. Ben Cunnington and Cruz Garlick could slot into an AFL midfield tomorrow. But, you know, Swallow, Zeeble, Wells, Greenwood are keeping him out of a spot at the moment.
Without going into specifics, what was the theme of your message to Lockie at half time?
I don't know, just that he plays his best footy when he's proactive, and he's, you know, I think he's an elite mark of the footy, and you know, when he goes for his marks and he plays, he gets on the front foot rather than waiting to see what his opponent's going to do. You know, when he's proactive, he's a very good player, but when he's reactive, he's not.
Brent, you talked about the people that Brisbane had out, but they did have Simon Black. Does the way he's still going surprise you? It's outstanding again today.
No, it doesn't surprise me. I thought Brisbane unsettled us a little bit because he started at half forward and he was coming up on ball and drifting back to half forward. So, you know, we had a decision to make whether we went all the way with him or whether we backed our midfield to play on him. So, but no, it doesn't surprise me. He's a terrific player, has been for a long period of time, and still probably, you know, in the top 3 or 4 clearance players in the competition. So, who knows when he's finally going to fall off the perch? But he's showing no signs of that at the moment.
Brent, does the continuing form of Goldstein pose a problem with what to do with that?
I think it will in time, but at the moment we're just pretty keen to get Hamish back to full fitness, and we are conscious that he's going to need to play really well in the VFL and run our games really strongly because there's a big jump up to AFL footy. But yeah, there's no doubt. I mean, I think if you look at the competition now, there's only really one side that's playing 2 genuine ruckmen and getting away with it on a regular basis. You know, and Cox and Natanui are pretty unique players. You know, they're almost 2 other midfielders for them. So, yeah, that's going to be something we're going to have to address at some point.
Is it far away? He seems to have played a few games, hasn't he? Now,
yeah, he's played 3 or 4 games at VFL level, so it's coming pretty soon. And we've got Carlton next week, who are one of the teams that play 2 ruckmen in Cruiser and Warnock. And you know, even though Cruz is an extremely mobile ruckman, so is Todd Goldstein. And I thought that was one battle that we're probably going to see for the next, hopefully, 8 or 10 years is Goldstein v Leuenberger. I think they're 2 pretty exciting ruckmen to watch, and they pretty much went head-to-head against each other all day today. And you know, I thought it was a really good battle to watch.
would you consider McIntosh for Carlton?
Oh, yeah, well, look, he hasn't been available for selection right now, up until this point. We'll watch him very closely, play for Werribee tomorrow, and then see if we think he's eligible for selection based on fitness.
You mentioned the other day, Brad, how hard it's been for players who are sort of coming back from injury or through the VFL to get their fitness up to AFL level. Ryan Bastinack's obviously, you know, a naturally fit guy, but really seems to be working to some good form now. Yeah, and he's taken up to this point to really look like he belongs at AFL level again. You know, we know how composed he is and what a good aerobic runner he is, but it's that intensity of the competing and contesting, you know, that really all players struggle with, regardless of how aerobically fit they are. So Basti was another good step forward today. He's still got some way to go, but I thought he took another really good step forward.
Cam Pedersen's come in, giving you a good contribution.
Yeah, he's been great at both ends of the ground. So I thought, again, that flexibility I spoke of earlier, I think he's really important to that because he's you know, he can hold down a key post for us. He's got really good closing speed, and as you saw today, he can go forward and have a pretty significant impact. So he's been a real find and a credit to Bryce Lewis and Cam Joyce, you know, in our recruiting department to unearth him from the VFL.
You touched on next Friday night. You talked about your midfield, come up against the Blues. The challenges just keep coming, don't they?
Yeah, they do, and Carlton are the #1 clearance team in the competition. They've got the best player in the competition in Chris Judd. So, you know, Mark Murphy's, you know, far and away, he's the standout leader in the coaches' votes, the coaches' award, which obviously means he's having a great season because both coaches in games rate his performance. So, you know, and then they bat pretty deep as well because, you know, Bryce Gibbs and Cade Simpson and all those players, they're quality players, and that's why Carlton are where they are on the ladder. So that's going to be a massive challenge for our midfield.